In the swamp of Oak Island, searchers have discovered a 500-year representation of what may have looked like. They have found part of a wall that matches an ancient map from the 1300s, hints at Templar treasure, or even a dam built to cover something huge, possibly a secret vault. The location is at the top edge of the swamp, where many strange things have already been found, such as tools, wood, rocks, and other items. The timber they pulled out was not just any random hunk of wood, it was a solid 12 in wide piece that looked like it was placed there on purpose. Just as they were clearing the muck, they noticed a glint of metal wedged right beside the wood. This isn't just any random hunk of wood. It matches old treasure hunter stories, especially from a guy named Fred, who always believed a wall was buried up there to keep secrets in. As more stuff was found, giant boulders appeared, arranged like someone wanted them there for a reason. If someone went through all that trouble to build a wall and then throw big rocks around in order, they must have been hiding something huge, something worth line up in perfect rows, while others are more complex, like paths connecting from one mystery to another. The swamp is filled with paths, smooth spots, strange cuts in the wood, and stacked stones, all of which point to people who came long ago with a mission. As they continue their investigation, they uncover further pieces of a much greater puzzle, each of which could lead them to something enormous that individuals may have sacrificed their lives to safeguard. Putting marks down, charting where the boulders go, measuring the height, verifying every angle, and working on passing down stories of what was buried and how to protect it are all things that the next generation is doing to continue the job. It is possible that the payoff will be quite remarkable if the wall turns out to be real. The earth is carrying on a conversation, the rocks are arranging themselves in a line to share their stories, and the wood is keeping its secrets hidden until someone notices them. As they proceeded deeper into the ground, the stranger things became, and the ground was not yet finished talking. At long last, the treasure from the edifice that ought not to exist is available. There are hunters all around the world who are keeping an eye on dreamers and explorers, waiting for that one great moment when the last stone is moved, and what has been concealed for millennia is finally made available to the public. In spite of the fact that nobody knows exactly what they will discover, the clues are beginning to mount up, and everyone has a feeling that the truth is getting closer. Not only is this a wall in the middle of a swamp, but it is also the beginning of something monumental that will be written about in history books and remembered for all time. It is possible that the swamp is the beginning of something much larger than anyone could have ever imagined, and as a result, the world may never be the same again. There are still many portions of the marsh that have not been developed, and the roots that are still winding around the old stones are using nature's lock to keep them in place. These regions have not yet made their voices heard, but when they do, the responses might be quite loud. There is a certain region in the far north that is particularly peculiar because the air there is heavier than it normally is, and people mark the place with more powerful equipment. They dig gently, taking care not to harm anything they could find, and showed respect for whatever has been waiting for a sufficient amount of time. Some of the pieces of wood appear to be recently split, but they are actually ancient and have been preserved in mud under a shield from the air. Some of the fragments have a shape that is almost identical to that of a floor or a dock, while others are full of grooves and weird marks that do not correspond to anything that happens in the present world. The earth's aroma becomes more opulent, resembling the scent of history, with a scent that is mingled with the moisture of moss and something harsh. More energy is brought in with each excavation, and each discovery brings in even more energy. Alternately, it may be the boundary of a chamber or a cover rather than a wall, or it could be a new line of rocks that runs across the original one, like a cross. It could be a time capsule from the past that has been carefully sealed and buried with secrets, and, if it is real, it could be untouched, not plundered, and not damaged. It becomes very evident that the marsh was not only utilized, rather, it was built, crafted, and engineered in such a way as to deceive anyone who came within a reasonable distance. Some individuals are of the opinion that this wall may have been constructed in order to conceal something or to conceal the swamp in the manner of a massive dam. During his exploration of the marsh, a guy called Fred Nolan discovered a wall-like shape. Subsequently, he discovered an extremely old map, probably dating back to the 1300s, that had the same wall indicated on it. According to the findings of a scholar by the name of Lagena, the Templars, who were ancient knights, might have been present on the island. The actual question that has to be answered is whether the swamp was constructed to conceal something or to shield us from it. As the evidence continues to accumulate, the main question that has to be answered is whether the swamp was constructed to conceal something or to shield us from it.
Drayton had the idea that all of these artifacts might be the remains of a military encampment after discovering what looks to be a metal tag from the bottom of a revolver with a name etched on it, which some online academics think may have been Samuel Ball's own name. Drayton's discovery of another object leads to the development of this theory. These campers from the 18th century either left their own treasure behind or were searching for hidden wealth. The only thing concerning Oak Island in the 1700s about which there is complete certainty is that there was a great deal of activity going on there. In the 4th episode of Season 7's The Lucky 13, Gary Drayton and Charles Barkhouse revisit Lot 21 to see if they can uncover any new information. In reality, they are successful in finding a pair. The first thing they find is an 1800s British halfpenny coin. The next thing they find is a brooch with a detailed design of a rope and a leaf on it. Marty Lagena will take some time to count the number of branches on the leaf after he has finished polishing the brooch. There are a total of 13 of them. This is a reference to the crew finding the Appeal to Heaven flag in the Lost and Founding episode from the previous season of Lost and Founding. The flag was flown from George Washington's own ships. The picture showed a pine tree with 13 different branches. A carving of a tree with 13 branches has been carved into a rock on Oak Island's northern side. Additionally, the number 13 is believed to have some form of significance, and the Knights Templar, an organization that is already closely associated with many of the artifacts found on Oak Island, are said to be connected in some way. Gary Drayton and his metal detecting team once more find evidence of activity on the island in the 17th century in Dead Man's Chest, the 2nd episode of the 5th season of The Curse of Oak Island. This time the activity may have been from the military, potentially from pirates, or even from both. The crew finds a 17th century musket ball that was used in weapons before discovering what they think is a Maravedi, which is similar to the object found in The Find, the Season 1 finale. The difference is that this currency has been divided up into smaller, easier-to-handle pieces. Coins like the Maravedi were often cut in the 17th century to create change. This practice gave origin to the phrase "pieces of 8, which was later made well known by the classic pirate novel Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Another puzzle piece that supports the idea that pirates visited the Oak Island coasts. Is it feasible that additional research on piracy has to be done? The Lagena brothers and Gary Drayton continue their search for hidden money in The Curse of Oak Island, Season 5, Episode 3, Obstruction, by looking into the Dunfield spoils. Robert Dunfield dug a hole that was 100 feet wide and 140 feet deep in 1965 in an attempt to find the rumored treasure that was supposed to be hidden on Oak Island. Ultimately, the large hole was filled in on its own, and the search for the treasures proved to be futile. The soil that was taken out during excavation, however, was not put to another use and ended up being called the Dunfield spoils. With the use of a metal detector, the Oak Island crew swiftly located a pair of English coins bearing the likeness of King Charles II on one side and the dates 1673 and 1694 on the other. These two coins' discovery on Oak Island in the 1700s suggests that either English military soldiers or pirates frequented the area. For more recent stuff, don't forget to subscribe and enable post notifications. In an effort to unravel hints about Oak Island's past and refute myths, they visit various parts of the island and speak with locals. The team also discovers gold close to the money pit, indicating that there might be further treasures there that have yet to be discovered. Even though they've encountered some difficulties, the crew continues to move and conduct their inquiry. Season 9 disproved Fred Nolan's claims of an ancient Portuguese presence while supporting Zena Halpern's Templar map. This discovery has restored their trust in their mission. Additionally, the group learns the top 10 Portuguese connections. The Lagena brothers are looking into the disappearance of the riches from Oak Island. The Portuguese Order of Christ, the Knights Baronet, and Prince Henry Sinclair are all seen to be potential contenders for hiding the treasure from Oak Island. The team encountered numerous rumors